Sri Lankan actress Jacqueline Fernandez is still being grilled. It's been 7 hours since her grilling began at the Delhi Police's Economic Offences wing. There's suspense now over whether the Bollywood star could be arrested next. I've got the inside track on what's happened with her at the hands of the Delhi Police over the last 7 hours. And I'm going to detail those for you right here on 5 Live. I'm Shiv. These are the headlines. Massive, humiliating exodus in the Goa Congress. 8 out of 11 Congress MLAs joined the BJP. 40-member Goa Assembly. Congress has 11 legislators, while BJP has 20. Congress reduced to 3. Bengal blame game over Kolkata violence. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee breaks silence, accused BJP of getting outsider goons for vandalism in the city. Child rights body seeks action against Rahul Gandhi. He says Rahul used children as a political tool in the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Language war takes centre stage in Karnataka. Former Chief Minister Kumaraswamy protests against Hindi Divas. Bommai says no question of neglecting Kannada. Supreme Court green flags longer tenures for Saurav Ganguly and Amit Shah's son Jay Shah at the BCCI. Says office bearers can have 2 consecutive terms. Seven hours is the duration of time that Jacqueline Fernandez has been grilled for today. The first time that she's been questioned by the Economic Offences wing of the Delhi Police. It's been on since 11 this morning. The questioning is likely to end for the day very, very shortly. India Today will, of course, attempt to get a word in from either Jacqueline or her lawyers. Jacqueline is likely to be called once again tomorrow. She's under the scanner, remember, for her links to conman fraudster Sukesh Chandrashekhar, who's accused of a 200 crore rupee extortion racket. Jacqueline Fernandez, who was initially a witness, has been charged, and she is being seen as someone who's been a beneficiary to the proceeds of the fraud that Sukesh Chandrashekhar had mounted on the wife of a top corporate honcho of the country. Sukesh Chandrashekhar has been in Tihar jail, and under threat of life he's been shifted to another jail now, but trouble is mounting steeply for Jacqueline Fernandez. Shreya Chatterjee is with me live from outside the Economic Offences wing of the Delhi Police. Shreya, Jacqueline has been questioned now for more than 6 hours, likely to end very shortly, could be questioned again tomorrow. What are you hearing?
Well, absolutely. So, Shiv, what we're picking up from our sources, in all likelihood, she will be called again for a second round of questioning tomorrow. And as you're rightly mentioning, shortly the questioning is likely to end. It started at 11 in the morning. What first happened was Jacqueline Fernandez was separately questioned about her involvements and a link so far as Sukesh is concerned. Then she was confronted with Pinky Irani, who's the close aide of Sukesh Chandrashekhar, who had actually introduced Sukesh to Jacqueline Fernandez. Now, the entire questioning is taking place to unearth about the fact that whether Jacqueline was aware about the extortion racket that Sukesh Chandrashekhar was running from inside the Rohini jail, because Delhi Police's Economic Offences wing has been probing that very crucially, and they've also booked Sukesh Chandrashekhar and 82 other officials from the Rohini jail under the corruption angle, and that's what the Economic Offences wing is looking into right now. The other aspect is obviously regarding the benefits that she had received from the proceeds of the crime. That's already been mentioned by the ED in their charge sheet. That exhaustive investigation done by the ED has also been a part of the focus by EOW. It's been a long day for Jacqueline, but definitely it's likely to continue in tomorrow.
Shreya, thanks very much for that. So that grilling is likely to continue tomorrow despite a full 6.5 to 7 hour interrogation that's still very much on. We're expecting that Jacqueline will emerge from from the economic offences very shortly. That brief video footage of her entering are the only images of Jacqueline available from today. Obviously, India Today's cameras were there to capture her going in. But this is a serious issue. This is not an issue that will be taken lightly, because the marathon grilling of this Bollywood actor started with the Enforcement Directorate, remember, and is continuing now by the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police. The Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police has called the actress tomorrow again for questioning. She is being quizzed in connection with a 200 crore rupee extortion case involving conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. India Today has accessed exclusively, obviously, the details of the investigation so far. Jacqueline is being questioned on expensive gifts she received from the conman, her meetings with him, and how she met Sukesh Chandrashekhar. She will also be asked questions, or is being asked questions, related to Pinky Irani, another aide of Sukesh Chandrashekhar. We have her picture as well, which we'll put on our screens in just a moment. Pinky is the one who introduced Jacqueline to Sukesh. Let's show that picture of Pinky so our viewers know who we're talking about. Pinky and Jacqueline have been confronted with each other and questioned together. Jacqueline has already been questioned and summoned. Why aren't we showing the picture of Pinky on our screens? Let's show that picture, because I want our viewers to not only see Jacqueline's picture, but also see Pinky, who is a key character in the questioning by the Economic Offences Wing today. Jacqueline has already been questioned and summoned 5 times by the agencies so far. From a house in Sri Lanka to a bungalow in Mumbai, the actor received a variety of luxury gifts from Sukesh Chandrashekhar, including posh vehicles for her and her family members. Sukesh also gifted expensive jewelry worth 7 crore rupees allegedly to Jacqueline Fernandez. So a lot of value has gone into this particular actor's relationship with Sukesh Chandrashekhar. Now, whether it relates to the commitment of a crime benefiting from the proceeds of Sukesh Chandrasekhar's fraud will be investigated at this point of time. Now, let's tell you about the cast of characters, because, you know, our viewers have been following this big agenda-setting story that India Today had first broken many months ago, but the cast of characters has expanded. Obviously, at the heart of it all is Sukesh Chandrashekhar. He is the key con man who has been in Tihar jail for a long time, shifted to Rohini jail recently after he said he was getting death threats. He is the chief kingpin. Leena Maria Paul is Sukesh's wife. She's the one who also received gifts. She happens to be an actor in her own right. Pinky Irani was introduced. She's the one who introduced Jacqueline Fernandez to Sukesh Chandrasekhar's close aide. Jacqueline Fernandez received gifts from Sukesh, and she is the actor on which there is a big level of agency scrutiny at this point of time. Now, Jacqueline Fernandez has been hitting the headlines for a long time now, mostly for her films, but over the last few months, it's been for the Sukesh Chandrashekhar case, first exposed by India Today. Embroiled in this 200 crore rupees scam. The Delhi police has now prepared a lengthy list of questions for the actor ahead of her day 2 of questioning tomorrow. The actress will be interrogated by the Delhi police's Economic Offences Wing once again for the second time. Here's how it's playing out.
Embroiled in a 200 crore rupee extortion scam, brimming with luxury and blackmail, the heat is mounting on Bollywood actor Jacqueline Fernandez. India Today had accessed the charge sheet filed against Jacqueline by the ED recently. The ED claims Jackie consciously overlooked Sukesh Chandrasekhar's criminal past and indulged in financial transactions with him. Not just Jackie, but her family and friends also allegedly benefited from her relations with Sukesh and got monetary gifts from the conman. The actor allegedly kept her statements evasive and formatted her cell phone when summoned by the ED for questioning. Jackie had initially denied any knowledge of gifts from Sukesh but had later accepted it after the ED's grilling. But more twists and turns have emerged. The ED charge sheet claims the conman had a plan for Jacqueline. He allegedly purchased a house for the actor in her native country, Sri Lanka, a claim the actress has accepted as per the ED charge sheet. Sukesh allegedly gave her a bungalow in Mumbai's Juhu area. Jacqueline's parents were also allegedly gifted a house in Bahrain by the conman. While other actors like Nora Fatehi have also been called in as witnesses in the scams probe. Jackie, during her questioning, cried foul, claiming better treatment were meted out to Nora while she should be made an accused and not a witness. Not just that, Jackie further claimed a malified, motivated and biased approach against her in the investigation in comparison to Nora Fatehi. With Jacqueline's assets worth at least 7 crore rupees already attached by the probe agency in the case, does the Bollywood actor face an imminent arrest? Bureau Report, India Today.
So from a house in Sri Lanka to a bungalow in Mumbai, Jacqueline Fernandez has been allegedly a beneficiary of many expensive luxury gifts from conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar. The list also includes things like phones, jewelry, possibly even money. Here's a detailed report on the many high-value gifts that Jacqueline received from Sukesh Chandrashekhar.
A 200 crore rupees fraud, 2 Bollywood divas and an alleged mastermind. The multi-crore scandal gets murkier with every new revelation. The Enforcement Directorate is unraveling a web of lies and deceit, and their latest charge sheet against conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar proves that all that glitters is actually gold. Sukesh has claimed he gifted Jacqueline luxury items worth crores, and the list is long and sparkling. The conman says he gifted the Sri Lankan actor 15 pairs of earrings, bangles and rings from Cartier and a bracelet from Tiffany & Company. Jacqueline allegedly received 5 Birkin bags from Sukesh. Bags for this luxury brand cost anywhere between 30 lakh rupees to 4 crores. Sukesh also sent gifts from Chanel, Gucci and Rolex watches her way. The charge sheet says Sukesh gave the Fernandez family a fleet of luxury cars. A Mini Cooper to Jacqueline, a car she claims she returned, a BMW X5 for the Divas sister in the US, a Maserati and a Porsche to Jacqueline's parents. That's not all. The conman doled out loans worth 1.13 crore and 37.8 lakh rupees to Jacqueline's siblings living abroad. In a statement to the ED, Jacqueline confessed to visiting showrooms of luxury brands to identify products and sending a list of them to Sukesh, who paid and got them delivered to her either directly or through one of his aides. The actor has been stopped from leaving the country and has been questioned 4 times by the ED. However, she maintains that she's only testifying as a witness. With Arvind Ojha and Munish Pandey, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, how did Sukesh Chandrashekhar spin this conman web worth 200 crore rupees with just a few phone calls and impersonating others? How did it actually happen? Most people have trouble, wrapping their heads around the value of this fraud. India Today has accessed audio recordings. You're going to hear it now and you can hear it nowhere else. Between Sukesh Chandrashekhar and Aditi Singh, wife of ex-Ranbaxy chairman Shivinder Singh. These recordings will really, really unsettle you. I have to warn you, viewer, because you're about to hear how Sukesh posed as a top Home Ministry official in order to extort money. This will make sense after you watch it.
A billionaire, an alleged conman behind bars, and phone calls that led to extortion of 200 crore rupees. India Today gets a blow-by-blow account of how a jailed conman extorted 200 crores from a business tycoon's wife. The story started when former Ranbaxy owner Shivinder Singh landed in jail in a case of alleged fraud and money laundering in October 2019. Shivinder Singh's wife, Aditi Singh, was working on getting bail for her husband when she was allegedly approached by conman Sukesh Chandrashekhar on the phone. Chandrashekhar posed as a government official when he established contact with Aditi Singh. He allegedly used voice modulation to change the tone of his voice. The shocking detail, he was allegedly doing all this from prison. India Today has exclusively accessed the audio recordings of Chandrasekhar's conversation with Aditi Singh.
You tell him not to be worried. Tell him to let us do our job. We know what we are doing. Tell him to be relaxed. Tell him to now look forward to come out.
Sir is saying that it is inappropriate to have a meeting in the current scenario with everything that's going all around. And he's saying that don't worry about all of these things. Now we just have to look forward to you coming out and working together.
All the while, Aditi Singh had no idea she was being scammed by Chandrasekhar. Aditi Singh became aware of the con months later after the Enforcement Directorate alerted her. The ED had begun taping Chandrasekhar's phone last year, which led to his arrest in the new case of alleged fraud.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Tell him that his bails are now going to be disposed at once in Supreme Court. He keeps talking about anything. He cannot be any more going or appealing anywhere. Tell him that. And also tell him that even in the Suresh Kumar case court, he was about to get bail. But because of anything said that you managed the case, that is the reason we had to dismiss. Please tell him that.
Sir is saying that now your bails will happen now that they're all in one in the Supreme Court. Sir saying that please don't worry about the family or me or yourself. We are the government's responsibility, and that we are looking forward to starting a new beginning with us. So please don't worry.
The probe agency has submitted 84 such recordings to a Delhi court. In another tape, Sukesh impersonated Home Secretary of India Ajay Bhalla.
Yes, good afternoon. Ajay Kumar Bhalla this side, Home Secretary of India. Is this a good time I can talk to you?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir, of course. It's a privilege to talk to you, sir. Sir, may I make a small request? I'm sorry, I've been requesting for a meeting, and I would really like to come and meet if that is at all possible at any point of time. I would be most grateful for that.
I would like to mention to you that I'm sure you have been told even before that there is certain right time for things to be done. So Mr. Anup will definitely tell you. I will also take this request to the Honorable Home Minister, and I will tell Amit Shah ji your request. But it will be honored as time to come.
Yes, I would be grateful. I would be grateful.
On that regard.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I understand.
But you need to understand,
Yes,
you
sir.
are being handled and taken care by the topmost office of this country. That is why we all are calling you and we all are being associated with you. But we would want you to go by our instructions, as we are not okay in accepting.
Sukesh Posing as Home Secretary, Ajay Bhalla then tells Shivinder Singh's wife, Aditi, that the Home Minister himself has asked him to call her.
Honorable Home Minister especially asked me to personally call you up and have a word with you.
See, I am most grateful, and it's my privilege.
As we understand, you are not on the same path that you have been following all this while because of the new developments. But if that is what is the reason, then we might be recusing ourselves from this. As I'm sure that Anup ji must have informed you, we are okay with working with you as how you have worked with us before.
Chandrasekhar is accused of extorting 215 crore rupees from Aditi Singh over a year. The new recordings reveal how deep the multi-crore scam ran. Inputs from Munish Pandey, Bureau Report, India Today.
And we've got a big exclusive coming up next. The man who has led the big exit from the Goa Congress joins us live. It's a humiliating exodus in Goa for Rahul's Congress. 8 MLAs who 8 months ago had promised Rahul Gandhi in person not to ditch the party have done exactly that. And the man who has led the exit joins us live next.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
Rajasthan has one of the lowest female literacy rates in India. At nearly 52%, the state is far behind the national average of 65%. To bridge this gap, IIFL, an organization with centers in multiple cities, is running a project aimed at giving functional literacy to girls in the age group of 4 to 14 years, especially in tribal belts. The Sakhiyon Ki Badi program started in 2017.
राजस्थान की अगर स्टेट सिलेबस की टेक्स्ट बुक देखी जाए तो उसके पहली से लेके चौथी कक्षा तक जो सिलेबस होता है उसको हम पढ़ाते हैं. उनका जो बेस है, जो फाउंडेशन है, वो स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाना चाहते हैं. उनका इंग्लिश का जो फाउंडेशन है, हिंदी का और मैथ्स का स्ट्रॉन्ग होगा तो आगे जाके वो ड्रॉप आउट नहीं होंगे. तो इस कार्यक्रम का मेन उद्देश्य वो है.
The organization employs village-based female teachers who are called Dakshas to educate students.
यहाँ पे 4 से 14 साल की लड़कियाँ यहाँ पे पढ़ने के लिए आती है. वो यहाँ पे जो लड़कियाँ पढ़ने आती है जो स्कूल नहीं जा पाती, किसी कारण उनके घर में बहुत सारे काम होते हैं, किसी कारण मतलब स्कूल नहीं जा पाती, तो वो यहाँ पे सेंटर पे आती है.
The organization claims that it tries to ensure girls who reach a certain level of proficiency get admissions in local government schools so that they can study further.
Rajasthan for several years has lagged when it comes to female literacy, but in Sirohi district of the state, revolutionary change was being witnessed as under Sakhiyon Ki Badi program, girls in the age group of 4 to 14 years were being given functional literacy so that they can be independent and stand on their own feet. With camera person Manish and Rahul Tripathi, Devankur Vadhavan in Sirohi for India Today.
Not only Kohinoor, but the UK has many other valuable things in possession that were looted or stolen from India. Tipu Sultan's ring was allegedly taken from his dead body by the Britishers after he lost the battle in 1799. Reportedly, the ring was sold at an auction in the UK to an unidentified bidder. In the 19th century, a beautiful wine jar was stolen by Colonel Charles Seton Guthrie and sent to Britain. The white jade wine cup belongs to Shah Jahan, the Emperor of the Mughal Kingdom. Since 1962, the cup has been placed at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. The Amravati marbles are presently on display at the British Museum in London. It's a collection of 70 pieces depicting India's famed Amravati sculptures. The British discovered the sculptures almost 140 years ago, and in 1859 they were shipped to the UK from Madras. And it's not just these, but the British took several valuables from other countries as well. These items include the Great Star of Africa diamond, the largest diamond in the world, Greece's Elgin marbles, France's Rosetta Stone, and many more.
Non, c'était bien, c'était excitant. Tu voyais que les gens étaient passionnés, ils avaient leur bateau de districts différents, fait que c'était vraiment intéressant. Puis je pense que c'est la première fois depuis 3 ans aussi que ça a lieu. Fait que tu sentais un peu là, les gens qui coursaient, l'émotion puis l'excitation.
Sono a Venezia, prima volta alla regata storica. Di solito la evitavo per timore di assembramenti, folla. Ne valse la pena. Bellissimo, bellissima giornata di sole. Abbiamo fatto video e foto, bellissimo.
It's absolutely incredible what 8 months can do in politics. Just take a look at these two pictures, viewer. On the left-hand side of your screen are Goa MLAs of the Congress party taking a pledge with Rahul Gandhi and other senior leaders saying, I promise I will not leave the party. I am taking a pledge in front of the cameras, on the book, on God, that I will not leave the Congress party. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, 8 months later, are pictures of those same MLAs doing precisely what they pledged in front of Rahul Gandhi not to do. Look at these two pictures. Taking a pledge and then doing precisely what you have pledged not to do, just 8 months apart. While Rahul Gandhi is on his Bharat Jodo Yatra, the guys, the Congress MLAs in Goa, who promised in front of Rahul Gandhi, sir, hum nahi chodenge party ko. We pledge that we will always be loyal, have said, bhaad mein jaye, we are leaving the Congress party, and they have walked out. That is the state of politics. That's the state of Goa politics, and that is the state of the Congress party today. Two images that define what has happened in Goa today for the Congress party. Now, our viewers will be very familiar with one very viral clip of Rahul Gandhi from some years ago, perhaps, during some kind of a rally, which has gotten a new meaning today. because these words which have been oft quoted, they are in many videos of Rahul Gandhi trying to jeer at him. But these utterances of Rahul Gandhi have now assumed a brand new meaning and significance, because this is precisely what those 8 MLAs have said to the Congress party after promising not to ditch the Congress party and not to ditch Rahul Gandhi. Listen in case you are wondering what I'm talking about.
Khatam. Bye bye, Tata, goodbye, Gaya. Khatam. Bye bye, Tata, goodbye, Gaya. Khatam. Bye bye, Tata, goodbye, Gaya.
It's a big jolt to the Congress party, which has been reduced from 11 MLAs in the Goa Assembly to 3 MLAs now, thanks to these 8 MLAs who have dumped the party despite pledging not to and jumping to the BJP. This comes as the Congress is taking out its huge Bharat Jodo Yatra not very far away in Kerala. The BJP has taken obviously a swipe at the Congress party. Listen in to this big political story from beautiful Goa. While Rahul Gandhi is busy in Kerala with his Bharat Jodo Yatra, a few hundred kilometers away, a Congress Chodo Abhiyan has been conceived and executed with clinical precision. 8 out of a total of 11 Goa Congress MLAs have defected to the BJP in a daylight coup. The rebels include former Chief Minister Digambar Kamath and Kalangut strongman Michael Lobo. They were welcomed to the BJP by Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant himself.
कांग्रेस ने भारत जोड़ो यात्रा स्टार्ट की थी। मुझे लगता है गोवा से कांग्रेस छोड़ो यात्रा स्टार्ट हो चुकी है। इसी तरह से पूरे देश भर में कन्याकुमारी से लेकर कश्मीर तक सभी लोग कांग्रेस को थोड़े-थोड़े छोड़ रहे थे, अभी लमसम में छोड़ रहे हैं।
Ironically, all these MLAs had taken a pledge of loyalty before elections in the presence of Rahul Gandhi. This was in addition to the oath they took at temples, churches and mosques. Digambar Kamath now claims the rebellion has God's blessings.
डिफेक्शनाचो बी कसलोच इशू उरना आतां इशू उरलो तो बीजेपीचे सरकार परते येवपाक जायना ऑल्टरनेटिव्ह सरकार काँग्रेस अशें सगळ्या लोकांचो जनतेचो निर्धार आसा.
Michael Lobo, who had switched to the Congress before the assembly elections, said he was returning to the BJP to strengthen the hands of Prime Minister Modi.
Pillars of Congress, they have given a signal to the party that this Bharat Jodo Yatra is not going to bring any difference to the party. The internal leadership had to be strengthened, which nobody is taking care.
Congress leaders, stunned by the rebellion, took to Twitter, lashing out at the BJP, calling the whole exercise Operation Kichad. In the 40-member Goa Assembly, the Congress is now left with a meager 3 legislators, while the BJP now has 28 MLAs following this dump and jump operation. The UPA now has just 4 MLAs in Goa, while the NDA has 33 seats, well over the majority mark of 21. The exodus to the BJP is nothing new. In a similar move in July 2019 during the previous assembly term, 10 out of 15 Congress MLAs had switched over to the BJP. With just 3 MLAs in their kitty, a Congress Mukt Goa assembly cannot be ruled out in the near future. Bureau Report, India Today. And I want to go across to India's #1 political reporter, Rajdeep Sardesai, who has covered Goa politics for a long time. He's from the area as well. He's looked very closely at all of these. He's going to be joined in a moment, mind you, by the guy who has led this entire big defection in Goa. Rajdeep, you know, these MLAs just 8 months ago had their hands folded, their hand on the constitution with Rahul Gandhi, Chidambaram saying, we pledge our loyalty. You know, it was a very moral, lovely affair where they said, we will not dump the party. What happened, sir?
You know, first of all, Shiv, just to tell you, Digambar Kamath, who in a way can be called the leader of this rebellion, is as we speak leading a procession to a mandir. So he has apologized and said he will join us in an hour or so because he's in that procession leading to a mandir. But to answer your question, this has been in the making, Shiv, ever since the Congress lost out to the BJP. The Congress got 11 seats, the BJP got a majority in the 40-member Goa Assembly when elections were held in March. And since then, a section of the Congress has been feeling completely marginalized. Digambar Kamath, the senior-most leader, former chief minister, was not made the leader of the opposition. Instead, Michael Lobo, who had just been brought in from the BJP a couple of months before the election, was made the leader. So Digambar Kamath, who's been an old BJP man from the Advani-Vajpayee years, but did not leave the Congress in its worst times between 2012 and 17, felt marginalized. The BJP sensed that there was disenchantment and wanted to strengthen their numbers. Digambar Kamath is a strongman of South Goa. Michael Lobo is a strongman in North Goa. What does the BJP do? They reach out to both of them. We are told, Shiv, that in the month of July, the deal was struck. At that stage, these rebels or defectors had 6 MLAs out of the 11. So they didn't have 2/3. In fact, Bhupendra Yadav had flown down to Goa, but at the last moment had to withdraw because the numbers were not happening. But the BJP persisted. Hemanta Biswa Sarma, the Assam Chief Minister, was put in charge of this operation. He knows a couple of the old Congress MLAs like Sankalp Amonkar from his days in the Congress. He connected with them. And eventually Digambar Kamath and a few of the others met Home Minister Amit Shah and the deal was struck. The BJP is insisting that no money changed hands, that these are 8 MLAs who have not been even promised ministerships, but that they wanted to leave a sinking ship called the Congress. The Congress, on the other hand, claims that this is another Operation Lotus and money has changed hands. Truth, I think, lies somewhere in between. The fact is the Congress has been in disarray, Shiv, for the longest time in Goa, and this is yet another blow to the Congress, and it strengthens the Chief Minister, Pramod Sawant, because now he has a comfortable majority.
Yeah, you know, Rajdeep, the Digambar Kamath was quoted just a few moments ago while he was on that procession as saying that I know that I promised in front of God that I will not dump the Congress. But I heard God's voice once again telling me that, you know, in case you want to jump, you are totally allowed to jump. You know, I'm wondering, you know, obviously we are skeptical, sir, about, you know, about morality in politics. But is there something especially immoral about or lack of loyalty in Goa politics that we see this kind of easy movement between parties there, sir?
You know, I think what's happened, Shiv, is post-1990, particularly once Goa had got statehood, the fact is the anti-defection law was almost rendered redundant in a small state, 40 MLAs, and it became very easy to split or defect. There are no ideological loyalties. Each of these MLAs is like a dada or a strong man or strong woman in his or her own area. So you have 40 or virtually independent satraps operating and dealing on their own. We saw in the last assembly in Goa, Shiv, 15 of the 17 elected Congress MLAs defect. Ironically, Digambar Kamath was one of the 2 who stayed back. So I think defections is almost built into the DNA now of Goa's politics, and whoever wins, it's a question of winner take all. Had the Congress won the elections in March, a few of the BJP MLAs, some of whom have been ex-congressmen, could well have changed sides. Yeah. So long as the anti-defection law cannot stop these splits and these retail defections, as we call them, they will continue in Goa. But they are a reflection, I think, Shiv, of the larger crisis that besets the Congress in particular, because having weakened in Goa, now out of power for more than a decade, they find it very difficult to keep their restive flock together.
Very true. And as you know, as always, the Congress lurching from one crisis to another. Thanks very much, Rajdeep, for joining us on this story. We'll cut to Rajdeep live as soon as one of those MLAs is live with him. You'll, of course, see them first here on India Today. Now, after that loyalty pledge in February this year, former Chief Minister Digambar Kamath, one of the leader of the 8-pack that has ditched the Congress today, at that time he had said that to ensure that the MLAs are answerable to public, they are taking that pledge. Well, not quite, because according to the developments today, he's basically booted out his earlier promise. What does that say about Digambar Kamath? Listen in.
Confidence also, confidence third होता candidate. They know that now we are answerable to the public.
सर जेन्ना तुम्ही जेन्ना कॅम्पेनिंग हेका भोंवता तेन्ना वो डिफेक्शनाचो जो वो इशू आसा तो वोटर्स बीन
आता डिफेक्शनाचो बी कसलोच इशू उरना. आता इशू उरलो तो बीजेपीचे सरकार परते येवपाक जायना. ऑल्टरनेटिव्ह सरकार काँग्रेस अशें सगळ्या लोकांचो जनतेचो निर्धार आसा.
Meanwhile, we've got some breaking news coming in. 4 accused persons in the horrific fire tragedy in Secunderabad, in which 8 people were killed, have been taken into custody by the Hyderabad North Zone Task Force. 4 accused have been arrested. The police has also arrested the owner of Ruby Hotel, along with the manager and supervisor of that particular hotel in which 8 people have died. Owner Ranjit Singh Bagga and his son Sumit Bagga were hiding at a farmhouse outside Hyderabad after the fire. All of them, 4 of these persons, have now been arrested by the Hyderabad North Zone Police. Remember, 8 people died in this late night fire that broke out in an electric vehicle showroom. The fire spread to the lodge that was situated just above it, in which 8 persons staying there died in the smoke. Abdul Bashir is live with me for more on this story. Abdul, these people had been absconding since the tragedy took place. 4 of them have been arrested now.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 of them have been picked up by the North Zone Task Force, and right now they are at the Market Police Station, where the investigation is going on as to what permissions they have been had to this building. Earlier, we have seen that a fire tragedy that has taken place at this building, where 8 people have died. So the owner of the building, Ranjit Singh, has been picked up. His son, Sumit Singh, who was running this showroom, the electric scooter showroom at the same building, has been picked up. The manager of this hotel, the Ruby Luxury Lodge Hotel, Sudarshan Naidu, and the cashier, Jaispal Singh, has been picked up by the police. Now the investigation is going on. Here, right now, you can see, as per the CCTV visuals that we have accessed, you can see that how the overcharging of an electric vehicle in the basement, which was illegal according to the police. In the basement, a charging point was put up where the charging vehicle was placed here, and then due to overcharging, the smoke evolved from the vehicle and an explosion took place. And the whole smoke, as there was only one exit point for the smoke to extinguish, the whole smoke through the staircase moved upwards, killing 8 people who were residing in the hotel. So this whole tragedy here is said to be the negligence by the hotel authority, by the owners of this building. That is what we are getting to know. So very soon, these 4 are going to be produced before the Honorable Court, and then they will be remanded to judicial custody.
Okay, Abdul, keep tracking that story. We'll keep coming back to you. Thanks very much for getting us that very, very important update. Our viewers wanted to know what happens to those who've been absconding since this entire tragedy. The law must take its course. We'll keep our viewers updated on that. 8 people lost their lives in that tragedy. Coming up next here on 5 Live, Aryan Khan returns to the limelight as Adidas picks him to promote their latest collection. It's his first big formal public outing since the entire drug scandal last year. His parents have congratulated him in public. We'll tell you all about it next.
Inflation, a bane for growth, has surged to 7% in August from 6.71% in July. The surge is mainly fueled by higher food prices, with food inflation touching 7.6%.
हमारे पे कस्टमर आता है, डिस्काउंट मांगता है. पहले इतने रेट बढ़ गए और मार्जिन घट गया हमारा, तो हमारा बिजनेस तो समझ लो जी ना के बराबर हो गया. और कस्टमर आके कहता है कि जितनी महंगाई है हम अपनी किचन कैसे चलाएं। मेरा तो यही गुजारिश है सरकार से कि इस पे कंट्रोल करे, प्राइस पे कंट्रोल करे, ताकि लोगों को अपना बेहतर जीवन जी सकें लोग।
While shopkeepers and consumers are worried a lot, there is a bigger concern for the central government. Reports say wheat stocks have dipped to 25 million tons in the beginning of September, the lowest level since 2008.
Agriculture is probably riskier than other economic activities, and how to address the risk is a perpetual problem, and that probably we have not been able to address as much as we should.
According to the Roll of Flowers Millers Federation of India, the wheat stocks with FCI are sufficient and will last till March. But if the PM Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana continues, then the FCI will have to look at its stock and do a reassessment.
It is double whammy for the Indian economy. On one hand, the customers are reeling under inflation, which means that everyday items, the essential items in our household, are getting expensive by the day. And on the other hand, the unemployment rate is rising. So we are seeing how slowly those items which were essential are now going over the roof. The prices are increasing, and the data is also pointing towards this fact. Now the question remains, when will the government be able to rein in inflation? Otherwise, it looks like you and I will have to keep on shelling more for essential items. With camera person Ashok Bhanot, this is Aishwarya Paliwal reporting for India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
It's Aryan Khan's first big public outing since the big drug scandal last year. He's been picked to be the frontman for the new collection from Adidas. And the Khan family is out to congratulate him in a very big way. Here's Aryan Khan in his new avatar.
Cool, slick and young. That's what Adidas's NMD V3 collection looks like, and the brand picked Aryan Khan to promote it.
If you want to know where we're headed,
The celebrity love for sneakers is no
you
secret.
need to know where we
Ranveer Singh is the official Adidas Originals brand ambassador in India, and this year's biggest campaign for the brand has been that with Ranveer Singh, who stands for all things
reimagine the
cool,
past to
slick
create new
and young again. Aryan Khan's promotion may just be pale compared to Ranveer's campaign, but has done the job of getting the town talking. Just look at the comments. His post is attracting a lot of love from many people across the board, but the one comment to stand out is that of Shah Rukh Khan. King Khan had a rather witty comment, and I quote, "Looking really good, and as they say, that whatever is silent in the father speaks in the son. By the way, that grey t-shirt is mine," unquote. His mom, Gauri Khan, commented saying, "My boy, love, love, love," unquote. This picture received compliments from Filmistan. Suhana Khan, Mohit Rai, Bhavna Pandey, Mahit Kapoor, Sanjay Kapoor, Seema Sachdev and Pooja Dadlani all left comments for Aryan. Aryan Khan, who was cleared in the drugs on cruise case by the Narcotics Control Bureau earlier this year, is now getting a semblance of normalcy back in his life. He's maintained a low profile so far, but looks like this campaign marks his return to being back in the spotlight. Lifestyle Bureau, India Today.
Several celebrities were spotted at the New York Fashion Week. India Today's Lifestyle Bureau brings you all the star-studded action from Manhattan.
Manhattan is buzzing with all the Fashion Week action. A star-studded Manhattan is witnessing celebrities rubbing shoulders with each other in the front row of the New York Fashion Week. The Tommy Hilfiger showcase had Travis Baker with a surprise set in the finale. Lila Moss, Julia Fox, Ashley Graham walked the runway. Hilfiger paid tribute to the late Andy Warhol with his collection. Right from Kardashian to Miss Universe Harna Sandhu, Janet Jackson have all made it to the Fashion Week. Fendi showcase was by far splashed with the most amount of stars like Sarah Jessica Parker, Kate Moss, Grace Jones, Iris Apatow, Christy Turlington and Chloe Bailey. Linda Evangelista made her first runway appearance since revealing last year how cosmetic procedures had left her brutally disfigured. She joined Fendi's show at New York Fashion Week. And now to the Hadid sisters. Bella Hadid was one of the star models appearing in the Fendi show. The latest collection saw oversized knits and pops of purple, leopard buckets hat and colourful sunglasses, bomber jackets and a reimagined version of Fendi's classic bugwet bag appeared on the runway. Harna Sandhu made an appearance backstage to appreciate lehengas by Indian designer label Falguni and Shane Peacock. The front row at Proenza Schauler on Friday was equally well attended, with Carly Kloss, Emily Ratajkowski and Kristen Queen showing up. Lifestyle Bureau, India Today.
And coming up next, it's Hindi Divas today, and the language wars have taken center stage in poll-bound Karnataka. Former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy live and exclusive with Akshata on the other side. He's the one leading the charge against Hindi Divas.
The language war Nataka is back. Former Karnataka CM H.D. Kumaraswamy reignited the Hindi versus Kannada war. After shooting off a letter to CM Bommai, opposing Hindi Divas event on Wednesday, calling celebrations glorifying Hindi an injustice to Kannada and forcible imposing of Hindi.
In the federal system, every language is of equal importance. Central government trying to impose Hindi on us is absolutely uncalled for.
BJP defended Hindi Divas, saying it doesn't diminish its zeal and love for Kannada language.
Mother tongue of every regional language is in position of the mother's place. Naturally, we are given it. That doesn't mean that we should hate the other language. I don't think, what Mr. Kumaraswamy has spoken, that we should go and protest against Hindi or this thing. Hindi is one of our Indian languages and it should be celebrated.
But the Congress, which is fighting to reclaim lost ground in Hindi heartland, appeared split on celebrating Hindi Divas.
What is happening here in Karnataka is that you are forgetting a classical language, the rich heritage, the legacy of Kannada, and glorifying Hindi. That is something wrong, is something that we are saying. We are not against Hindi. But you cannot have Hindi enforced upon us who have a very, very rich literary background of our classical language.
Kannada is our priority language and it is an official language, no doubt about it. But please understand, Hindi also is a national language. Understand? We may be speaking less Hindi here, but it doesn't mean that you should not observe that. I don't agree with Kumar Swamy.
Several Kannada groups in the past have resorted to vandalizing and blackening Hindi boards, also staging protests